we see Israel trying to forcefully, through the use of violence, ensure a supermajority of their ethnic group primarily practicing the Jewish religion. That is what they are currently doing, and they're using America's military, intelligence, taxpayer dollars to do so. It's okay, these rules are all perfect, fine, and good. Nationalism tied to the soil, the blood, and the religion is okay for Jewish people and their Jewish nation, but when white European Christian people say this is our soil and the people who this soil belong to are our ethnic ancestors and progeny, and we are going to maintain a specific religious belief here, that's not okay. That's targeting certain groups. That's discrimination. That's hateful. That's violent rhetoric, according to Jews, when talking about every nation other than Israel.
The destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Good afternoon and welcome to Beholding the Truth. It is your humble host, Joshua, here with you for another one of our happy hour sessions, sitting outside of the gym, sipping our pre-workout, getting caffeinated. Got to get ready to go make our physical gains in the gym, but of course, beforehand, we have to sit down and make some mental gains as well. I got something awesome to show you guys. You might see the shirt and you might say, wow, that's very aesthetic. I love it. Well, did you know you can sip your own pre-workout, your own coffee from this nice stainless steel matching anti-Zog occupation thermos available on beholdingthetruth.com. We've been improving the merch line with coffee mugs, stickers, car magnets, and obviously the apparel lines. We updated the apparel lines as well with joggers and shorts. So lots of fun stuff going on over there. So if you want to help out the platform, you enjoy this daily content. Talk about a run that we're on. I think I've put out, I checked on YouTube the other day, in the last 30 days, there's been a new daily video on 25 or 26 out of the 30 days. So that's pretty consistent, okay? That's pretty prolific, if you ask me. And we're doing great. Each video is getting, between, on the low end, 500, 700, and then on the high end, 1,500, 2,000 views. So slowly, we've actually accumulated a pretty good viewer base. I'd like to see the subscriber count significantly higher. We're somewhere over 5,000, like 5,200, 5,300, something like that. But that number needs to be like 50,000, 500,000, But these things come in time. Having built the Instagram following of 115,000 and that taking multiple years, I'm a patient guy, very, very patient guy. And that's obviously having to deal with the constant subject of today's vlog, censorship and suppression. And so, if you have been following the weekly content, last week I did a vlog about my website, beholdingthetruth.com, which, as mentioned, has the merch store, but also it houses Beholding the Truth's mission statement, as well as links to all of my independent documentaries, links to the daily vlogs, and other things. Well, I built that website several years ago. I built it. I didn't hire a web developer or anything like that. Every single cosmetic decision, everything in terms of the material on the website, the merch store, everything 100% created by me, maintained by me. Well, as I mentioned in the vlog last week, I got up on, I don't even remember what day of the week it was, in the morning, and it was after I had just designed these beautiful mugs. I was like, you know what? I want to order a coffee mug and I want to order a stainless steel tumbler from myself. And so I go onto the store and oops, beholdingthetruth.com no longer exists. If you are the owner of this website, please get in touch with wix.com to discuss it. Wix was the domain host for my website. And if you don't know, those who aren't familiar, Wix is a domain host and website designing company headquartered in none other than Tel Aviv, Israel. And so I talked in that vlog about how I kind of always knew this day was coming, just as much as when you build a social media presence on a Jewish-owned platform like Instagram or YouTube, you kind of already know that you're swimming in enemy territory. And it's their prerogative to, at any point in time, nuke your entire account, or in this case, your website. And so sure enough, that eventually did happen. Wasn't surprised whatsoever, and I did the whole vlog last week about it. I owe you guys an update because, as I mentioned in that vlog, when they go and drop the nuke on your social media account or your website, they don't owe you necessarily an explanation beyond you violated the terms of service. That's it. There's no debate about how, what content it was. And so you're not owed that, but you can at least ask. And so that is what I did. Unfortunately, when you try to go directly to Wix and ask them, okay, you just told me that you took my entire website offline and you said I violated the terms of service, and that's why. Well, how did I violate the terms of service? Well, that question, you don't get to send it directly to a human being and interact and have a conversation. You have to talk to a AI-driven chatbot. And the chatbot says, you just have to submit an email and go into the queue of customer support, and maybe you'll get an answer and maybe you won't. Well, I did that really just out of curiosity, not expecting that they're going to restore the website. And I couldn't afford to sit around with my entire website, my merch store offline. So I went and simultaneously, immediately, within 24 hours, had the website back online, had to create an entirely new merch store, all of the API integrations on the back end with the merch store and with YouTube, et cetera, had to do the man hours of work of rebuilding all of that while waiting for an answer here from Wix. But I did get that answer back from Wix in terms of how exactly I violated the terms of service and which term of service I violated. So I wanted to give you guys an update and close that loop. So let's take a sip of our pre-workout here, and then I will read you guys the email exchange that I have been going back and forth with Wix about. Absolutely delicious. So let's get to the bottom of this. What happened with Beholden to Truth? Why was I banned? Well, this email from Nama of Wix Support said, "Hello, thank you for reaching out. Your website has been disabled due to violations of Wix terms of use and Wix content guidelines, specifically Section 7 of the content guidelines. In order for us to review the case and restore access to the site, please update the text on the following page to remove any harassing, threatening, incendiary, abusive, or racist language." And then they link to the page of the website that this harassing, threatening, incendiary, abusive, or racist language allegedly was on. Once the content has been revised, please let us know so we can proceed with the review. Thank you for your cooperation. So you would probably assume that they interpreted some of my social media content, these long format vlogs, Instagram posts that are linked to on the page. You would probably assume that that's the content they pointed to for being harassing, threatening, incendiary, abusive, or racist language. But that is actually not the case. And this was surprising to me. The link that they gave me was actually a link to the mission statement of Beholden to Truth. Okay. Well, that begets the question, what was the mission statement that I had on the page that allegedly met all of this criteria? And so I will read you the mission statement that was on the page that has been there for a couple of years. And you can tell me if you think it is harassing or incendiary language, threatening, racially hostile, whatever it may be. And so I responded and said, I copy and pasted the mission statement in, and I said, "This is the text on the page you allege contains harassing, threatening, incendiary, abusive, or racist language. Please indicate to me which statements below, copied directly from the page, reflect this language, as I don't see any statements that meet these descriptions." This is how you have to deal with these people, because they like to talk in abstracts. They like to say this could be interpreted as XYZ. And oftentimes they don't even want to point to specific words you said. They just want to say your entire delivery. And I know this from the professional persecution that I've endured, nearly getting fired once a couple of years ago for my social media content, and actually getting fired 3-4 months ago for my social media content, where they said the same thing. Oh, your content is racist. It contains hateful language. Meanwhile, they don't actually say this post right here, this sentence right here is what we interpret or consider to be racist or hateful or whatever. They just say, broadly speaking, your content fits into these categories, and so you're fired. Or in this case, we deleted your entire website. Or in the case of social media, same thing. And so here is the mission statement that they allege was so damning and hurtful to these other people, or threatening or incendiary. Behold the Truth's mission statement was documented as follows. Modern Western civilization, a manifestation of the white Europeans' grandiose 500-year colonialist mission, is in a precarious state. As per Jesus' direction, we evangelized his offer of salvation to the Western world with our dissemination of God's new covenant, the gospel. Our unmatched technological feats of engineering and science gave the world the Industrial Revolution, only to follow that up with what previous centuries would have deemed only possible through sorcery, the digital age. The entire world has become dependent on our technology. The Zoomer generation cannot comprehend a world without the global internet, digital banking, digital communication, digital entertainment, digital shopping. It's everywhere at all times. Digitization has become omnipresent like electricity, another white European invention that holds the modern world together. Through these revolutionary paradigm-shifting contributions to humanity, hundreds of millions of people have been lifted out of squalor, famine, and poverty. Free, instant, and democratized digital communication has led to the greatest disclosure of corruption the world has ever experienced. Never before have each nation's citizenry, white or non-white, been able to remotely commune with each other and assemble against oppression, domestic or international. We have no white guilt. While it is true Europeans leveraged slave labor in the southern states in the early years of American history, it's also true that Africans had no qualms selling their own into slavery. Arabs enslaved millions through the Ottoman Empire's conquests, and mercantile Jews were happy to profiteer off of the North American slave trade, owning almost all of the slave ships. Although all races share participative guilt in the practice of slavery, it was none other than white European men who ultimately decided to force an end to this immoral practice worldwide. Why? We demand excellence from humanity. We will not capitulate to godlessness, corruption, or degenerate culture. We will not allow our Christian European country to subsume the cultures of Israel, Africa, Mexico, Asia, India, or any of the Muslim world. We apologize for nothing because we have nothing to apologize for. And then I close the mission statement with the words of Jesus Christ himself. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you, which is John 15:18. That's Beholden the Truth's mission statement. I stand for white identity, the protection of white European civilizations worldwide, obviously most urgently to me here in America, and I stand for having Christian nations, protecting Christendom. That's the mission statement. Do you consider any of that language incendiary or invoking hatred? So that was what I responded back to the Wix individual with, and I asked them explicitly, where in that mission statement did I do the thing that you were alleging that I did? And so I got a response from an individual named Yulia. So this is a second individual jumping into the conversation. What's going on, you guys? It is yours truly, Joshua, founder of Beholden the Truth. Just wanted to say, if you'd like to help out the platform, go to beholdenthetruth.com. You can get yourself something from the merch line, some of these anti-Zog occupation sleeveless t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, joggers, sweat shorts, whatever you may need for whatever season you are in. We got them at beholdenthetruth.com. It goes a long way in supporting the platform and waking people up. I've had several people come up to me at the gas station, at the gym, at the grocery store. Hey man, I like that shirt. You know what that means. And it kicks off a conversation. We're swapping Instagrams. This is how you meet people who know what's going on, who probably share much of the same worldview that you do. It's an open invitation for everybody to just step right in. So I appreciate you guys' support. Head to beholdenthetruth.com and get your own. Hello, thank you for reaching out. The site was disabled due to content published on this page, linking to the mission statement. And here, in particular, the following section. Quote, from my mission statement, we will not capitulate to godlessness, corruption, or degenerate culture. We will not allow our Christian European country to subsume the cultures of Israel, Africa, Mexico, Asia, India, or any of the Muslim world. We apologize for nothing because we have nothing to apologize for. To restore the website, this text needs to be rewritten or removed entirely so that it does not contain any discriminatory, threatening, abusive, or hateful language targeting individuals or groups. Once the content has been fully updated to comply with our guidelines, please let us know and we will review the site again. Thank you for your cooperation. So, the Thought Police, aka the Israeli-owned company Wix, has deemed it immoral, hateful, threatening, abusive, incendiary to talk about America and Europe as built by Europeans because they were, and as Christian nations because they are. And to say that we don't want our European Christian nations to become like Mexico or become like India or become like anywhere in the Middle East, whether it's Israel or Islamic Arab nations, or to become like Asia, we don't want their cultures. We can see their cultures. We don't find them attractive. They haven't built Western-style civilizations, in particular with respect to Christianity, in any of those other places. And so we don't believe that those people coming into our lands, first and foremost, that they are owed anything from us, but more importantly, that they would be able to sustain what we built, because they didn't do it in their homeland. And what is obviously the most ironic, double standard hypocrisy here is that, they primarily had a problem with the mention of Israel and putting them first. We do not want a country that is beholden to Jewish ideals, whether that's Jewish culture, allegiance to the Jewish nation, or the Jewish religion, because none of those subjects, the people, the religion, obviously that nation not even existing back in 1600 when the European Christians settled in this land, started building churches, started building universities to train up the first and next generations of pastors. The codified government of our country being imbued with the principles of Christianity, the immigration policies of our formal federal government explicitly making it so that our country would remain homogenous of European people. Those were intentional. Those weren't done out of hatred, but they were done intentionally to protect the culture and the religion of this country. And we see Israel do the exact same right now. We see Israel trying to forcefully, through the use of violence, ensure a supermajority of their ethnic group primarily practicing the Jewish religion. That is what they are currently doing. And they're using America's military, intelligence, taxpayer dollars to do so. I don't think Mexico really wants Asians to come in and infuse Asian culture in Mexico. Would that be hateful or incendiary for them to put forth? Is it hateful or incendiary for Israel and Jews to say, yeah, we really don't want Israel to be an Asian nation or a Hispanic nation? They obviously say every day very loudly that they don't want it to be an Islamic nation. Okay, so it's okay. These rules are all perfect, fine, and good. Blood and soil and religion are okay. Nationalism tied to the soil, the blood, and the religion is okay for Jewish people and their Jewish nation. But when white European Christian people say this is our soil and the people who this soil belong to are our ethnic ancestors and progeny, and we are going to maintain a specific religious belief here, that's not okay. That's targeting certain groups. That's discrimination. That's hateful. That's violent rhetoric, according to Jews, when talking about every nation other than Israel. And they don't really care that much. If India says this should primarily be a Hindu Indian nation, They don't give a fuck. Do you think they care at all about the demographics and the religious fabric of India? If Chinese people say this should primarily be a Chinese Buddhist country, do you really think they give a fuck? What they are most currently and historically concerned with is Rome, the expansion of the Roman Empire. And this is in the words of their Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and many other intellectual Jews who have led the socially Marxist movements in our country to open our borders, to destroy the nuclear family, to install all of these subversive movements in our society. The push for homosexuality, pornography, prostitution, go down the list, abortion. They push for all of these things in Western countries, which just means white countries, with no remorse. In fact, they emotionally berate us for not celebrating these changes that they themselves say they are leading. When you look at somebody like Barbara Lerner Specter, who is an American Jew who moves to Sweden and who publicly complains that Europe has not yet embraced multiculturalism, and it is her and collectively the Jews' job to impose multiculturalism on all of Europe and all of its colonial endeavors. And she makes it her personal priority, her life's mission, to move to Sweden, to advocate for immigration, etc. Okay, so this is the dynamic. It is always this double standard hypocrisy. It is always Jews using their institutions, their leverage in media, their leverage in the higher education system, their leverage in the government, to constantly tell you, the white Christian American, that it's actually immoral, it's divisive, it's hateful, it's racist for you to care about the ethnic fabric of your country or the religiosity of your country. But at the same time, you are obligated as a Christian to protect the non-Christian religion and the non-white supermajority in Israel. You're a bad person if you don't do that. You hate Jews. You're anti-Semitic if you don't co-sign those urgent priorities and give your tax dollars and send your sons to die in Afghanistan, Iraq, and everywhere else in the Middle East. But for you, you get infinite, never-ending diversity. You get religious tolerance. And so that is the truth about why my website got banned. We got down to the actual answer, the exact words that I said that were a problem with the Israeli-owned Wix domain host. Now we know. Are we surprised? No, not one bit. It is always this way. No Zionists get banned from social media. Their websites don't get deleted. They don't get fired from their jobs for saying Israel is a Jewish country. We have to do whatever it takes, up to and including shoving millions of people out of the country, bombing women and children, imposing famine and starvation on their population, anything under the sun, including deception, including blackmail, including genocide. That is all okay in terms of protecting or ensuring the future supermajority Jewish population in Israel. But simply having a website with a mission statement that says, yeah, I don't want America to become like Mexico or India or Israel or any other nation. All right, well, that's unacceptable. Delete all of the hundreds of hours of work that you put into building the website, building the merch store, cross-linking your social media, blah, 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 offline. So just wanted to close the loop on this one, you guys. That's what happened. We already, as I said, migrated to a new domain host. The website's back online. But if you didn't know, if you had any doubt whatsoever about the Zionist occupation of our country, this is just one of a million different examples. It doesn't matter if it's social media. It doesn't matter if it's your professional career. It doesn't matter if it's your website, if it's a nonprofit, if it's a for-profit. It doesn't matter if you're a nobody. It obviously becomes more urgent if you do have a platform and a large reach. But anybody is subject to the Jews running our major institutions, the Jews running the corporations, the Jews in government, wherever they may be, wherever they have strategically placed themselves. Their priorities, the defense of the Jewish people worldwide and obviously the well-being of the Jewish nation of Israel, are always more important than even your constitutionally protected rights, even your economic safety, even your ability to feed yourself and pay for a home. That's all second, third, fourth, 10th priority to the Jews who own various corporations, the Jews running the media, the Jews running the finance industry. Go down the list. The Jews blackmailing our politicians, bribing our politicians. This is the way it is. This is the dynamic that's been the status quo for our entire lives, your parents' lives, your great-grandparents' lives. It goes back over 100 years. And obviously Americans are sick of it. Obviously the tidal wave of America First groypers who are taking this message mainstream and insisting that this is not just a problem with Zionism, the foreign nation of Israel, the Likud party, and Benjamin Netanyahu, and saying, no, this is a problem related to Jewish identity. Wherever they are, okay? They have a fierce, unforgiving culture amongst all Jewish people practicing Judaism or not, living in America, Europe, anywhere, that says our interests as a group trump national sovereignty. They trump basic morality, such as don't kill women and children, non-combatants, journalists, doctors, don't lie. And that's not Josh's opinion. That's the formally stated, publicly available mission statement of the Mossad. Via deception, make war. Okay? This is how they operate. They don't have the same moral character as Christian European people. They don't care about our sovereignty. They don't care about our demographic health. They don't care about our economic health. This is a problem that must be talked through, and it must be done so in a way that protects the dignity of all people, in a way that avoids violence at all costs. We're trying to do that. It doesn't make it easier when you hit one button and delete our entire website, when we're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. When you say, oh, Jews aren't that fiercely nepotistic and they'll allow people to speak freely, exchange ideas because that's protected by the First Amendment. Okay, well, I, living in America, as an American, exercise my free speech, trusting that this Jewish-owned company will respect the American Constitution. Who gets stabbed in the back here? What do you know? It's me. It's every white person who has ever advocated for the collective interests of whites. It's every person who has ever said the influence of Israel over our country, the influence of the political and religious movement of Zionism is a conflict of interest to the sovereignty of America. Every single time, stabbed in the back. It doesn't matter if you're a governmental official, an influencer, a celebrity, doesn't matter. Anywhere in society. Go as far back as Randy Weaver. Okay, Ruby Ridge. Take a look at his t-shirt. Looks a lot like mine. Why did the federal government, the FBI, the ATF, chase this rural white family out into the middle of the woods and start killing their family members and killing their dog? You should look that one up if you don't already know. So, yeah, guys, that's what happened. That's me closing the loop, giving you an update. Obviously, as I said, we've already moved on. We got the merch store back online. Built a whole new website from scratch, so it looks a little different. Some of the features of the old website aren't rebuilt yet. I still have to figure out how to do that on this new host. More work to be done. All my work just got flushed down the drain, so I just have to flush more hours back into that, and that's just how it always is with this platform. Do the interview with Ken O'Keefe. They ban that. They give me a 2-week strike. Can't go live. I've been banned from going live on Instagram for nearly 2 years. Oh, what are you talking about? You're not suppressed. You're not banned. You have an account. You have 115,000 followers. Oh, really? Let me just go live and talk to my people real quick. Oh, can't do that. Haven't been able to do that for 2 years. Said something controversial about a certain Austrian painter. Well, that means on YouTube, not on Instagram. You're one strike away from losing all of the hard work, the 5 years you've been building that channel. You finally unlock monetization. Well, guess what? You're about to lose that because somebody complimented the governmental policies of a certain party in the 1940s. The occupation is real, but it's one day at a time. For now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. go and support the webpage, support the platform at large by getting yourself something from the Anti-Zog Occupation line or the Save Europa line. Whatever it is that you need, I have, okay? Christmas time's coming up. You want good gifts. Get somebody something to drink out of. Get somebody some flip-flops. Maybe they need some cool Anti-Zog stickers, a magnet for their car, a hoodie, a tank top, some joggers, some flip-flops, a t-shirt, whatever it may be that you think they would like, and obviously start generating some of those conversations out there in the real world. That's my favorite perk, obviously. I've had it happen to me at a gas station, in the grocery store, at the gym, coming up to me telling me that they like my shirt, which I talk in my ads about all the time. That's a coded message. That means they're aware of the Zog as well. They're aware of white genocide as well. And those are the people you want to meet and make friends with and so on. So until next time, you guys, also dropping next week, maybe the week after next, sometime in December, I filmed an interview with a guy named Chosi, who runs the Olive Roots podcast, who is a Palestinian Christian living in America for the last 20 years. And we get to exchange our worldviews, me as a white Christian who is standing for white identity and Christian nationalism here in America, him as somebody who has family in Palestine, who lived in Palestine, who sees Israel for what they are and has for his entire life. We talk a lot about that subject and how America is reaching what he calls the puberty stage, finally. And I think that's probably the best way to put it, that America is finally coming to a mature perspective on this relationship that we have with Israel. And I won't spoil it because it's a great interview. It's an hour and a half long. Once he has that up on his platform, then I will start taking 30-minute slices of it and putting it up here on YouTube. But for my Substack subscribers, you get early access to the entire interview, uncut, unedited. There is a little bit in the interview that I'm going to have to edit out for YouTube just in order to protect the account. You got to do what you got to do. So if you want that unedited, uncut, full-length, early access, you got to be a Substack subscriber. And that's true for all of my interviews, all of my documentaries. You get them early in full form. So that's the other way you can help out the platform. beholdinthetruth.substack.com. All right, guys, until next time, take care of yourselves. America first, and Christ is King.
The few brave men who have actually tried to go out and do something about white genocide or talk about Jewish influence, the Zionist-occupied government, we all know that they get crucified, their careers get destroyed, and so we need to find ways to support each other. One of the ways that I have done that is by creating my Substack, where there are exclusive early access to documentaries, my weekly vlogs, there are ebooks there. There's even an opportunity to set up a one-on-one 30-minute Ask Me Anything if you'd like. All of the proceeds from my Substack, from my YouTube channel, from the merch gets reinvested in the platform. I use that to pay my employees. I use that to buy the equipment that I need, the cameras, the lights, the MacBook, all the books, all of the software, pay for marketing, everything else, but also it protects my literal life. So if you want to help out, please do head on to Substack, get yourself a subscription. Thank you. I appreciate it. America first, and Christ is King.